Hey everybody, it's Alec on the Tarqaron channel, here to talk to you today about Casino Royale. So Zach and I are going to start doing some more of these little solo videos on stuff that either don't fit into our schedule, our recording schedule, things we want to talk about together, or just things maybe we want to have an outlet to talk about but don't have the means to do so, because either I don't think he's seen Casino Royale, which really is a shame, and just in general, he's talking about Survivor season 40 right now. I don't know anything about any of that, because I've been sworn to secrecy about anything that we're currently at. So anyway, so Casino Royale, for those of you who don't know, I've actually been going through all of the James Bond films in release order, kind of in the lead up to No Time to Die. Been watching through them all with my family. I got a Blu-ray collection a couple of years ago, and so I'm finally sitting through and watching all of them. And Casino Royale has been one of my favorite Bond films in general, since basically it came out. Going through these films again, has my opinion on that changed? No. If anything, this has solidified the fact that this is easily top three, possibly even number one of my favorite Bond films. And it's one of my favorite movies in general. It's I love this film. Um, James Bond has always kind of been suave and debonair and always wearing fancy suits, and Daniel Craig does wear a really nice suit in this film. But uh, James Bond has sort of had the edges softened on him over time. I feel like Sean Connery has a nice rounded version of the role. I actually really like Timothy Dalton's take on the character a lot too. A little bit more 80s tough guy. He's got some edge to him as well. But uh, varying amounts of success. I'm not a big fan of Roger Moore. I think I'm not a really big fan of Pierce Brosnan either. Um, I like films that those guys are in. Lazenby is amazing. Totally horribly underrated Bond. I wish he was in more, because I think he was phenomenal. And On Her Majesty's Secret Service is another one of my favorites. But Casino Royale, Daniel Craig enters the scene. People didn't think he would be able to be James Bond. He was blonde. He was any number of reasons that people just didn't feel that he had the fit to the character. I think he just slam dunk, knocked it out of the park here. Um, he has an edge, clearly, to the character. It's a more realistic take on this sort of spy, the dirty work that spies sort of have to do and deal with. Um, he is a blunt instrument, as M calls him. He's a little bit messy. He's inexperienced. This is kind of the origin story of James Bond. This is basically a reboot of the James Bond story. Bond has always kind of been in the middle of his career through most of the films. This one's like showing him. The movie starts off with him getting his double O license, being inducted into MI6 as an agent, a double O agent, with a license to kill. So he goes on his first mission as a double O. It goes horribly wrong, horribly poorly, and M is kind of at odds with him. I love the relationship that M uh, and Bond have had through the last few films. I think it's sort of underplayed a little bit in the Pierce Brosnan ones. I think the M with Daniel Craig, the way that they have really good on-screen chemistry and really good friction when they're on screen, but you can really get a sense underneath like how M it's almost like a strange motherly sort of uh, perspective. She's his boss, and she's clearly like it's not quite motherly. Like that's almost doing a disservice to it. It's a complicated relationship. It's uh, a good, solid, a well written relationship, and I really like how that develops over the Daniel Craig films. Um, so Casino Royale in general is mostly a straight retelling the uh, of the original novel. From what I remember, I don't know if I ever finished reading the book it was based on. Ian Fleming's Casino Royale um, is has a lot of the same. I think instead of poker, it's baccarat because that was the big sort of card game in that period of time. Um, Poker was really big in the mid 2000s, so of course they're going to have that be kind of the main event. Baccarat is a little, I say it's a little obscure maybe for a more modern audience. It is strange because going back to the earlier films, he's playing Baccarat, and I don't really get the rules. I don't know. I have to look it up sometime. I don't really understand how it works exactly, but anyway, so the cast in this film is stellar. Mads Mikkelsen plays Le Chiffre. His a blood. He weeps blood because he has malformed tear ducts. The villain of the piece. There's Eva Green as Vesper, who really matches Bond perfectly in this film. I think in terms of what you're having to do to reboot a character, how are you going to portray Bond in his relationship with women? And um, in a sense, it's very upfront about it. It doesn't play. Um, Brosnan and Moore sort of played the sex as like a cutesy little joke. I think the Craig uh, scenes really are more show kind of that it's like the only consolation that he can get. It's one of his vices, clearly. Um, but he's not like a wonderful, happy person. He's not like cracking jokes every 5 minutes about stuff. He's a complicated individual, and it's the I mean, even just in the line alone where it is like, besides, you're not my type. Vesper's like, what you mean? I don't remember exactly what she says. Like, it kind of basically is like, oh, what you mean, like strong, like independent or whatever? And it's like, no, single. So Bond is like after the married women. He's that makes it less complicated for him because he doesn't have to worry about getting his feelings hurt because he knows it's just going to be a fling. Um, but he's uh, yeah, I don't know. There's just something very. It feels a lot more grounded. We're having our main character be not like not like a perfect whatever. You know, he's not a golden boy. He's messy and he's got problems. And um, but seeing Vesper sort of come alongside that and influence him in his life um, is just it's just such an interesting dynamic they have that plays out throughout the film. I don't have a problem spoiling this film, really. It is old. Um, I don't think I really need to, though. I think I'm kind of starting to wrap up already, as surprised as I am about that. I could ramble on about this for a long time. I love this film. The action scenes are fairly easy to follow. There's a lot of like really good hand cam stuff, but the for like the really up close visceral kind of moments, you get a little bit more of that in its sequel, where it starts to feel a lot more like a Bourne film, which I think is some of the criticisms of Quantum of Solace. Um, but I really like it's very brutal. The way the action scenes are filmed in this are a lot more um, they're a lot more real feeling. They're not you don't feel you feel in the action. One of my favorite scenes of the film is there's kind of a beat 'em up in a stairwell, and it's just you really get a sense of like where the characters are who are involved, their like where how they are being affected by the brutality, and it's great. They do such a good job. I think Martin Campbell directed this. I think he also directed Goldeneye. He introduced a new Bond two times in a row, and did an amazing job bringing a new Bond into cinema. And Casino Royale will always, I think, always stand as one of my very favorite films. It's just an engaging ride the whole way through. Music is really good. I was talking with another friend about a month ago about Bond scores, and he sort of brought up the point like David Arnold writes motifs, like he uses themes, and you don't see that as much in film composition anymore. And it's true, you don't. And that's some of the things that I love the most about his scores for Bond. And I think this is one of my favorites. I love the score to this film. I love the score to Quantum of Solace as well. But that's pretty much it, I think. Highly recommend Casino Royale. Definitely a must-see. Even if you don't know anything about James Bond, this is like a perfect entry point, I think. Really, like some of the older ones, From Russia with Love or Goldfinger are kind of like, those get you a nice taste of the older sort of style of Bond. Another good one would be like The Spy Who Loved Me, which this friend of mine also, I'm gonna quote him and say it's the most James Bond film ever made, which is totally true. It has basically every trope that you want in a James Bond film. These ones don't necessarily have the Daniel Craig ones don't really double down much on tropes. He does have some puns, but they don't feel like overplayed or like kind of like eye rolling. But yeah, big recommend to this film. So that's it. I'll keep from rambling any longer. Hope you enjoyed. Please let me know what you think down below about Casino Royale. And if you totally agree or completely disagree with me, I would like to know why. So, anyways, catch you later.